Hi, hey, how's it going? It's Emily, and today we're going to start what I think will be the first of two magical Readathon Aurelium spring semester vlogs. And I'm not necessarily going to go in order of the prompts, and it's not necessarily going to be my sole focus in April either. I think I'm going to spread these prompts over April and May. I have 8 of them, and which in a typical month would be fine if that was my sole focus, but there's just so many things that I want to read in April that I'm gonna mix it in with some other things and spread it out a bit. And I don't have the information close at hand. It would have been good to get that before I turned the camera on, but I don't have the information close at hand about the classes and the prompts. I do remember that I'm going for Wild Form Druid, which is what I started to go for ever since she introduced it as a career last year. By the way, I'll link information to what I'm referring to below if you aren't familiar and want more information. I'm not going to kind of describe the readathon in these vlogs, but in general, you're going to a magical school to prepare for a magical career. And so that's the gist of it. And the career that I'm going for is Wild Form Druid, which is basically the environmental protection career in this magical world, which is great because that's my actual job in the real world. So I just thought it would be fun. And again, I'll have another clip where I actually go through the classes, or maybe I'll just, as I'm finishing the books, describe which class and which prompt the book was for. And I don't remember which class it was for. I remember the prompt that I'm going for first is a book that you think could get you out of a reading slump. Now, I'm not in a reading slump, fortunately, but the thing that I tend to think of when I think of books that could get me out of a reading slump are books that are fast-paced and just super engaging and suck me in and make me just forget about reality. And the book that I can think of off the top of my head, the first thing that I think of when I think of engaging and books that just sucked me in, first one I think of is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. And I read this one a long time ago. I say a long time ago, it was only a handful of years ago, maybe 2018, 2019, but I think about this one all the time, and I think of it as one of the books that I can think of that has most just sucked me into the world. I was in the Oasis with Wade, trying to go through these clues and find these Easter eggs to be able to get to the Oasis creator's inheritance. Like, I was there, you know what I mean? And I thought it would be cool. I do have on my physical TBR a book that also deals with virtual reality, and I thought that could be a fun one to go for this, since those can be just super engaging, and literally the point is to kind of pull you into this virtual world, right? And so if there are more that you can think of that use virtual reality, please let me know, because I would love to learn about some more. The one that I got at a used bookstore relatively recently was, let me try to avoid glare, was Warcross by Marie Lu. So I'll put it down so that I don't need to worry about the angle and the glare. But so this one is one that I had on my radar as one that had virtual reality as one of the components here. So we're following is it Amika Chen, and it's a futuristic world. There's this game called Warcross, and it's this virtual reality game, and you can fight or like have these different battles in various settings, and the point is to kind of get your opponents. There's like a jewel, something that you're going after, and you need to get theirs before they get yours, kind of thing. And it also comes with these glasses that can kind of augment information that you see about the world as you're walking around. And there's some other stuff going on too. And so she lives in New York. She's a bounty hunter. So the police are so bogged down with trying to catch other criminals, I guess, that they don't always have time to go after people who illegally bet on the outcomes of some of these games. So there's the official Warcross games, there's also kind of a like underground version of it that doesn't, where players don't play by the rules basically, and you can bet on some of these games. Anyway, and so the police look for help trying to track down or catch people who have illegally bet on these games. And Amika is one of these people. She doesn't really have a ton of options as far as ways to make money, and because it's not really a consistent way to make money, it's hard. She's really struggling financially. And so she has she has a situation where she thinks she has, captured someone or, placed someone under arrest for the police to come and pick him up, but she doesn't end up getting the reward. And so she thought she would at least have a little bit of financial breathing room. That was taken away from her. So she's really upset, and the Warcross championships are about to be starting, and so she kind of wants to stop thinking about her troubles for a little bit, watches the opening ceremonies of the Warcross games with her roommate, and is trying to find a way. So there are these power-ups in the game that can kind of give you some special ability for a temporary period of time, and those can be sold on this underground market for real money. And so she sees one that's of high value and is trying to see if she can hack her way into the game to take it and then be able to sell it. But she hacks into the game accidentally in such a way that everyone can see her, and that wasn't the intent. She was supposed to stay hidden as an audience member, but that doesn't end up happening. And so she thinks she's in a lot of trouble. She's contacted by the creator of the game, brought to Tokyo on his private jet, and she's really confused. But, she goes to Tokyo on his private jet because he wants to meet with her, and he offers her a job of sorts to enter the championships, because there are these wild cards. So there are the set teams, but the set teams can also add a couple of members that are kind of wild cards who have done well and performed well in the game, but aren't necessarily on the official teams. And so she can get a chance to be one of these wild cards added to one of the teams, and he wants her to track down and find information on someone else who is hacking the game, but potentially going to be doing some dangerous things, not just potentially within the game, but maybe there are some implications for, outside of the game, real life as well. Anyway, so I'm actually, I meant to check in when I had started or was a good bit of the way through, but I'm really pretty far into it. This is the part that I have left. And I have been thoroughly enjoying it. It really has sucked me in. I think I enjoyed the Oasis as a kind of created alternate world more than Warcross, or at least the way Ernest Cline used the Oasis in his book. I think I enjoy more than what's going on in here. But it still has been a super fast-paced and engaging story. I like following our main character. I enjoy seeing her kind of go through these games and, stuff that's going on outside the games that's making things more complicated for her, and she's trying to navigate a bunch of stuff as she's trying to track down more information about this hacker. I am not particularly, it's not bothering me, but it's also not doing anything for me. Is the romantic element. So there is kind of a romantic element between her and the game's creator. It's not really doing anything for me. Again, not bothering me, but I don't know. But again, I feel like this could be one that could get me out of a slumber. These types of books, I think, are good picks for one that could get me out of a reading slump. So I think it was very successful in terms of fitting the prompt. So I will check in once I have finished this one, and then make a decision about what book might come next and, let you know what prompts they fulfill and what classes they work for. So, quick check-in. I am now working on The Art of Illusion, and I think I've wrapped up the first book I read for this one. I've actually read another book since then while I was away for a weekend, but I'll get to that one in a different clip because I need to be pretty quick. But I'm halfway through my next one, and I wanted to check in before I got too far into that one. So the prompt for The Art of Illusion, I'm pretty sure that's the class, is a book with game, or there's another option, but a book with the word game in the title. And so I have picked The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and this is a pretty popular series. I think there are 5 books in this series or world at this point, and we're following Avery, who is going about her high school life, attending classes. Her mother has passed away, some years back. She doesn't have a relationship with her father, so her sister is taking care of her, and she one day gets summoned basically to a will reading, and they had requested that she come and had sent some letters, but her sister pretty reasonably thought it was a joke that she would go to some will reading for someone she's never heard of, that the family has never met. But someone comes to get Avery and say, no, we really need you to come to this will reading. This isn't a joke. And she goes to this will reading, and this rich billionaire, Tobias Hawthorne, has basically given her almost everything he has, almost all of his money, his properties. He's given a little bit to his kids, but it's basically a pittance compared to what they were expecting, and then as well as some other family members. He also gave some to staff that had been loyal to him over the years, but he gave most of it to Avery, and she's confused because she's never known about this guy or why he would give her all of this money. And the only stipulation for getting this inheritance is that she live in the house for a certain period of time, and she also can't, without good cause, kick the other. He had 4 grandsons. She can't kick them out. And so she's basically stuck in this house with a family, because it's not just the 4 grandsons, there are, other family members involved as well. She's basically stuck in this house with people who hate her for taking what they perceive to be theirs. And she's just trying to figure things out. She now has the security person who used to work for Tobias and, head Tobias's security, is now her security to help keep her safe. And she's trying to figure out why she was given this inheritance, what happened. There's a letter that Tobias wrote to all of his grandsons as well as to her, and so there's a clue in some of these letters that she is starting to follow, and so that's kind of leading her down a trail of clues that she's hoping will give her some more information. Anyway, I'm intrigued. I'm having a grand time with this one. It's just been super fun and engaging so far. I'm about halfway through-ish. And yeah, it's just been super engaging and fun, and I'm very intrigued to see what happens or where these clues lead and what the heck is going on. So I will continue reading this one as I can. As I said, I need to wrap this up pretty quickly, but I wanted to check in before I got too far, as I said, and I will, in my next clip, wrap this one up as well as talk about Entreat Me by Grace Draven, because I've also read that one for this readathon and just want to talk about it, but that'll come later. So I realized, editing the clips so far, from this vlog that I was almost done, but not 100% done with Warcross by Marie Lu. Can in fact report that I thoroughly enjoyed the ending and am very excited to get to the next one, Wildcard. It was just so much fun. Like, just fast-paced, entertaining. Again, didn't love the romantic element, but it's fine. And yeah, I'm just so intrigued to see where things going and what's gonna happen to this game and how that's going to affect reality for a bunch of people. I have also finished the Inheritance games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Also thoroughly enjoyed this one. This one was also just so fast-paced and fun. I had so much fun following the clues with Avery and trying to figure out what's going on. Again, also didn't love the romantic elements in here, but it wasn't distracting, at least to me so far. Hopefully that'll not be too much going forward, but I have heard that becomes a bigger part of the plot. So we'll see how that goes for me, but I'm also very intrigued to continue this series and see what happens. And anyway, so going back, I read something in A Weekend Away and didn't log it, but wanted to check in because it does fulfill one of the prompts. The prompt was, and again, I'll need to double check the classes and what classes were with what prompt, and I'll do a check-in to make sure that I check the box on that. But I remember the prompt was to read a book with a yellow title. And on that Weekend Away, I read Entreat Me by Grace Draven. It's kind of a golden yellow, but I still count that as yellow enough to count for the prompt. This is my first Grace Draven, will definitely not be my last. I absolutely adored this one. I love Beauty and the Beast retellings. It's one of my favorite Disney stories. I love Belle. It's just, I usually have a really good time with retellings. And so I figured it would be great to start here with Grace Draven and see how I liked her writing. And again, so much fun with this one. So we're following Llewellyn. Llewellyn is actually a widow. She's a bit older than her younger sister. Her husband has passed away, and she's taking care of her dad and her younger sister. Her younger sister is being courted by someone, and her dad owes a really awful person some money who is trying to force collection of that debt and basically trying to be a skeeve and suggest that marrying this younger sister will be sufficient to take care of some of that debt. So the younger sister runs off with the person that she's being courted by, and this guy has a family estate, and so they've kind of run off there to escape the situation. And this guy's dad is kind of the master of this estate. He's the Beast. This dad is the Beast character. Llewellyn goes after her sister and is trying to make sure that she's okay. And so she ultimately ends up accepting some money from this family to be able to pay off the debts and then basically be the chaperone for her sister as this guy is courting her. And there's this curse on the house, of course, because there needs to be a curse and some magic involved here. And so every now and then there's a flare-up of the magic, and the master of the house turns into this beast-like character. Anyway, so that's kind of the setup here. And as Llewellyn is spending more time, in this house, she's trying to figure out whether she likes the person that her sister is courting. She wants to make sure that her sister is in good hands. And, she's starting to have this attraction towards the Beast character. Anyway, I love the writing. It was very atmospheric. I was pretty sucked in, just having a grand time. So that was the one that I read while not vlogging. So I think we're caught up on the books I've read so far that fulfill prompts for the Magical Readathon. So I'll check in when there is something else that I'm reading that'll fulfill some prompts. So it's the beginning of June. I'm actually here to cut off this vlog. My intention was to do 4 books for a first vlog, 4 books for a second vlog, but I've done 3 of the prompts, read 3 of the books that I wanted to, and haven't turned back to the prompts, and I've actually continued on with 2 of the series that I started in this vlog, and I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do for the next book in this with these prompts. And so instead of just waiting and waiting until I happen to pick up another book that'll fulfill one of the prompts, I'm just going to go ahead and cut it off here. I'm going to go ahead and put this one up and then put up the vlogs that I mention, the continuations of some of the things that I've started in this vlog. And we'll just have 3 books here, have 5 books in another vlog at some point to come out, and hopefully in the coming months I will read 5 books that fulfill the rest of the prompts that I need to. And so that's what we're gonna do, and it'll be great. It'll be great. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off here. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more bookish content and to see what books I choose to fulfill the rest of the Magical Readathon prompts. I'm hoping to get this done. I originally said over April and May. Hopefully I can get this done before August, when the next set of this readathon happens, or the next part of this readathon happens. But anyway, as I said, subscribe for more bookish content and to continue the chaos. And I'll leave my Instagram link down below, as well as more information about how you can support the Black Lives Matter movement. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.